Have you ever felt kind of stuck, confined by your own story, by the person you think you're supposed to be? Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty profound idea, the courage to disappear. Now, not literally, of course, but in a way that might just unlock a much deeper reality.
I mean, listen to that. This is our destination for this explainer. It's this single sentence that promises something absolutely incredible, an escape from a tragedy we create for ourselves and a return to a state of being we've somehow forgotten. But to get there, we first have to really understand what it is we're trying to leave behind.
So what is this self, anyway? The one that holds the key to both our tragedy and our freedom? The sources we're looking at suggest it's not who we really are, but it's the story we've bought into, the one we believe about ourselves. So let's start by taking a closer look at that story.
Okay, our first stop is getting a handle on this concept of the limited self. The best way to think about it is like the reflection we see in the mirror, the one we've spent our whole lives trying to manage and defend. And that's the very source of the human tragedy we just talked about.
You know, the key word here is identifying. The limited self isn't some solid thing. It's an action. It's the moment we point to our thoughts, our past, our job title, and we say, yep, that's me. The idea here is that we're basically mistaking the reflection for the actual person looking into the mirror.
And this comparison really shows you what's at stake. On one side, you've got confinement, tragedy, identification, and on the other, peace, expansion, awareness. The whole point, the crucial shift, is moving from identification to pure awareness. But what is that limited self even made of?
This is where we get this really fascinating metaphor, emotional crystals. These are basically the solidified, hardened little pieces of our past that we use to build the very walls of that identity, of that prison.
So these aren't just fleeting feelings we're talking about. These are the moments and ideas that have become so dense and so heavy that we've actually started to think that they are us. We carry them around, thinking their weight gives us some kind of substance, when really, they're just weighing us down.
And this makes so much sense when you see it laid out. Think about an old grudge you just can't let go of, or a belief that you're not good enough, or a fear that secretly makes your decisions for you. Each one of those is a crystal. They feel so solid, so permanent, and so intensely real. They're the cornerstones of that image in the mirror.
Okay, so if our identity is a prison we built for ourselves out of these crystals, how do we get out? Well, this brings us to the most challenging, but also the most liberating part of this whole journey. Having the courage to let that reflection just dissolve. Now, this isn't some simple to-do list, right? It's more of a conceptual path. So first, you have to see the reflection for what it is. It's just an image. Then you let yourself actually feel the weight of those emotional crystals, but without judging them. And step 3 is the big one. You stop saying, I am this fear, or I am this anger. You stop identifying with them. And then finally, you just allow that constructed self to fade away.
This right here, this is the turning point. It's the whole game. See, the crystals only have power because we give it to them. They only seem solid because we're constantly telling ourselves they are. The second you withdraw that belief, that identification, they lose their structure. They can finally start to dissolve back into the flow of life. So what happens when the reflection fades away and the crystals dissolve? Is there just nothing left? An empty void? Absolutely not. What's revealed is something way more authentic and alive.
So the disappearance of this limited self isn't a death. It's the end of the tragedy for sure, but it's actually the start of something new. It's like shedding a super heavy costume you never even knew you were wearing, which finally lets you move freely.
And here we are, right back where we started. This freedom isn't something new that you have to go out and get. It's a return to your natural state. It was there all along, just hidden behind that reflection in the mirror and the weight of all those crystals. It's about remembering who you are, underneath the story you've been telling yourself.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Once you stop identifying with your thoughts, your history, your fears, what is left? The source material doesn't give us a neat answer. It just points the way, leaving that discovery entirely up to you.